Well, good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I hit my game and I go 7-0 yesterday or this week. And just 1 second. So I gave you the game yesterday and my others. So I played the over and it was perfect. It was a little slow at coming, but then the key to the over was the block punt, the big run by Miami. And that type of game, you need those quick scores. Worked perfectly. I watched the replay twice on YouTube, the 20-minute replay. And I don't know if they're Herb Kirk Street or Herb Crooked Street. Is this about what I thought? Miami, I knew could score. They get that one little guy, and they get the big runner. The runner I would draft very high. The little guy is just a freshman. You can't draft him yet. Carson Beck, okay. Wouldn't run and get him. Mendoza, okay. Nothing special. I'm not watching Joe Namath out there. So you just, they're good, but they're not. Reuben Bain, yes, he's the first pick. First pick in the draft, and kid from Texas Tech, Bailey, second pick in the draft. Then Miami has some other players. Indiana has some players. And Texas Tech has some players. So it's a big defensive draft. I really wouldn't waste time with the quarterback, and especially if they don't like Dagia, which I don't believe. I'll pick him up in the second round very happily after taking Reuben Bain and the Texas Tech guys. So, a good game. It's hard listening to these announcers because they're so stupid. Oh, you touched him after 5 yards. That's interference or that's a legal touch. Then on one play, it's pass interference. The guy's grabbing his arm is pass interference every time. Well, he's going for the ball. So they basically it's all bullshit, right? It's just about control. They want to control you. So they say, listen to the ref, listen to the authority. So you're sitting there. If they called interference, he says, yeah, that was interference. And if he doesn't call interference, no, it wasn't. He did hold on, but that's not. It's like, yeah, it is interference. What the fuck are you talking about? So, very confusing game. What's a catch? If the guy catches the ball, it's a catch. He doesn't have to make a football move. That's bullshit. If I throw it to you and you catch it, it's a catch. End of play, period. He caught it. Did he have both his feet in? Yes. Okay, that's it. And if he fumbles, it's a fumble. It's not, well, he didn't hold it long enough. He caught the ball. Don't even know what a catch is. They're making it so confusing. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, 5 games, 7 winners. Only the Teaserking can come up with a double on Denver and the double on the Bears, where I hit the total and the team. Applaud. At this point, you can't say New England played a weak schedule. You can't say Chicago played a weak schedule. And like I say, each game's independent. It doesn't matter what Seattle did to the San Francisco. It doesn't matter. I told you it didn't matter what Miami did, what Indiana did to Oregon and Alabama. It's not. It's a different game in a different place. It was actually a home game for Miami. $3,000 a ticket. Where do these people get the money from? Because they're not going by themselves. So they're there with their spouse or their kid or something. So it's $6,000. Who has $6,000? I know it's not worth anything, but still. And then, well, we can't eat, Charlie, because we went to the football game and spent our food allowance for the month there. Anyway, so we'll get back. Let's just quickly look at it. Silver 93.70 was 95.50. It went down at 10 o'clock and then it came back up, and there it is. And it'll be back to 95, and gold holding in 47.31. So now we've cleared the 4,700 obstacle. And notice how it kind of dicks around for a little bit. I don't really understand that. And then it goes to, now we're at 47.30 on our way to 48. So most people didn't believe we'd hit 3. And then nobody believed we'd hit 35. And then when we hit 4 and at 45, and now we're at 47, and we'll be at 5,000 soon. Silver, I don't get the drop because then you have to cover the silver, which you don't have the physical. So I don't get that at all. But silver is much higher than 93.65 again in the free market. And again, this is paper. So if the paper gold's 47.30, what do you think the physical gold is? Yeah, much higher. Same thing with silver, 93.83. What do you think it is in physical? This is paper and contracts and derivatives. What do you think it is in physical? You're damn right, about 800-900. And that's what the first lesson people don't understand. But it's because they're idiots. They don't understand it. No offense to anybody here. They just don't learn it or don't want to, and they just don't care. All right. John C. Good morning. Russia had a big snowstorm. Did they? Which city in Russia? Daria's in St. Petersburg. Moscow is the other big city there. And then there's it's a huge country. So to say that doesn't really could you narrow it down to what city? And keep in mind, Siberia is there too, which is always cold and snowy. Profit. So my teaser won, and that hedge bet, Miami plus 15 over 40, would have hit as well if I had played it. Well, you got to get used to that. I thought your teaser was good, but you can see you had a little stress because Miami didn't just go away, and they didn't throw all those turnovers that Oregon had done. It just shows you how bad a coach Oregon is. They were not prepared at all for Indiana, and they had played them and lost 30-20. And yet they acted like they never saw him before and were so unprepared. Yeah, I know your teaser was Indiana -1. The over got over with 6 minutes left when they made it 24-21. I was over 40. Somebody emailed me thinking the over was 48 or something. And I'm like, no, it was the over got there easily. It was 46 or 47. And I said to him, that's why I play teasers. I mean, for me, it was 40. And I got 40 with 6 minutes left. We went from 38 to 45 or something like that. Yeah, it was 24-20. So it's 24-14. So it was 38. So I needed a field goal to win, which I got. I got a field goal and a touchdown. What is going on my tweet? Normally these little texts are just bullshit. Hey, I'm Alice, giving away 100. Yeah, okay, sure you are. Any little happy moments lately? What the fuck are these? Hi, I'm Olivia. Here are your high quality market investment plans. Go fuck yourselves. Who are these people? I don't know any of these people. I don't know where they're getting my number. All right, so silver now is over 94. So you can see how quickly it moves. It took a big drop at the 10 o'clock. Gold 47.35. So look at this 10 o'clock bullshit. It's at 95.58 at about 9:30, and then it drops to 94.75, back to 95, and then from 95 drops to 93.50. It drops $1.50 purely on an option, and now it's back to 94.19. It's that. What was that at 10 o'clock that dropped at $1.50? What kind of bullshit is that? What kind of black magic are we seeing? Anyway, so it shows you how quick 94. It'll be back to 95 probably by the end of class. Again, it's a paper market, which we understand, and therefore we don't get worried. We know in the physical world that we're living with our actual physical silver and gold, we're not worried at all. We're not in margins. We don't care if the margin limits go up or down. And we don't really care about anything else. We're in the physical world. And that's how we're looking at. The block punt by Indy was the difference. Well, we don't know what's the difference because Indy could have got the punt and marched down the field and scored. It sure helped the over. Those are big plays in and over. A block punt and the Miami guy, the running back running for 60 yards and a touchdown. You need those big plays in and over, especially with these defenses. And again, Miami did not allow 30 points. The whole year, they never allowed 30. The correct play probably was under if you just read the algorithms, right? Because you see Miami being a 14 and Indy being 11. You got two strong defenses. The total on the game was 47, roughly. Yeah, probably under 53. But the way Miami played Ohio State and the way Indy's been playing, I thought they'd get a run going. And they didn't really, but they kind of did. Anyway, at the end, it was enough. It was a 51. No, 27-20 was a 48. We just needed 40, which I knew they'd get into the 20s. So maybe you understand me when I say the game's in the 20s. That's what I mean. They both scored in the 20s and got you over. All I needed was 40, and I got it. Miami had the running back. They had that really fast receiver who's a freshman. And the good Reuben Bain. Again, you get the first pick, you got to draft Reuben Bain. It's like Reggie White. You got to take the stud. He's the best player on the field. All right. Far better than Mendoza. I mean, it wasn't even close. I did like the way they hit Mendoza with the helmet and the chin, trying to knock him out. That was on purpose. And no penalty, and Herb Kirkstreet's crying. He's such an idiot. He did play quarterback. He offers no insight. And that shows you why he was such a bad quarterback. He sucked. Played at Ohio State. They were terrible. But like I say with CJ Stroud, you look at the Michigan games as the barometer what he's going to do in the pros, and he sucked in those games. Just like J.J. McCarthy sucked in those games. On the Michigan side, if they can't handle this, what are they going to do in the pros? And that's where I get it from. Anyway, Far Eastern Russia. So that's towards China then? Do you have a city? I don't know. I haven't talked to Daria yet today. Jenna's in Germany now, so she's safe and sound there. But anyway, here we're getting. I'm so cold here. Just to go out, it's so fucking cold. We got snow on Friday. It's still here. Fortunately, I teach class, then I go to the gym, so I'm kind of inside there. The roads are fine. They do a pretty good job cleaning up the roads there. So let's take a look. Any other comments on Miami? Usually defense wins, and they both have, but Indiana's defense really is kind of unknown. It's a very good defense, but you don't know anything. You don't like say, oh, like Ohio State, great defense, Miami, great, Texas Tech. You don't say that about Indiana, but it is. I mean, there's 6, 7 draft picks you can pull out of Indiana. A lot of their secondary, their linemen are very strong. You just don't know their name, but they're all very good. They're very well coached. Same thing with their offense. They have a great line. They have great running backs that just, 4th and 3, and they go for 6 yards, 10 yards. Mendoza's okay. I think he's in a system where there's good receivers and good running backs. So it's option. It's, do I run? Do I pass? Which reminds me a lot of Ohio State and Alabama quarterbacks. They don't really, when they play in college, the receivers are wide open and they're running and they get in a big game and they have trouble. But Mendoza looks better than that. So yeah, he'll be an NFL quarterback. He did win the game for him yesterday. But he's no, come on, he's no Joe Namath. He's no Tom Brady. He's no Drew Brees. I mean, don't kid yourself. All right. Teasertrons added. Let's take a look. We got New England and Denver. We got New England 541.5. 3 o'clock game. Now, I did pull Jared Stidham, 2018. He played 4 years at Auburn. He had 18 touchdowns and 5 picks, threw for about 3,000 yards. Not bad. He was a good quarterback at Auburn. All right. Nothing spectacular there, but it was 18 and 5. Okay, not a lot of interceptions. He's played 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So this is his 25. This is his 6th year in the league. He played in a couple of games, I think, last year or in 23. I think he played in 23. And he was with New England at first, didn't play much. Then he played somewhere. I think he played at Oakland for a year. And then he's been the last 2 years, he's been with Sean Payton at Denver, and he did have a lot in 23. He was in 5 games. So he's got a good arm. Can he read defenses is his problem, and he's going up against New England. It's going to be a problem. But he can throw. He's a good quarterback for this situation, right? So it's not like he's never played or he's like some of these idiots that we watch, like CJ. He's better than CJ Stroud, which isn't saying a whole lot. We're getting that Midwest blast now. Does it come to Canada? Okay. We always get your weather a day later. It's funny because I say that to Daria. I said we get your weather 2 days later. So whatever happens in Russia and the Ukraine, if it's sunny there, we get sunny. If it's raining there, we get rain. So so it starts in Russia, Ukraine. 2 days later, it's here, and apparently a day later, it's in Canada. Okay. Who's the best defensive player now in college? Well, I told you that's the guy in Miami, Ruben Bain, from what we can see. Ohio State's got Sonny Styles, number 0, whatever. They have some good players. It's hard to say who's the best because they focus more on the quarterback. The Heisman Trophy is a joke. It's the best quarterback on the winning team is the Heisman Trophy winner, not the best player, not even close. Ruben Bain should be taken number 1. Oh, but we need a quarterback. Well, fuck off. You can take a quarterback in the 3rd round for what you're going to do, especially if nobody wants Dagiopava. You can take Dagiopava. it's the coach, it's the system that you bring in that makes the quarterback successful or not. Look at Caleb last year. He was terrible. He wasn't even average. He was below average. This year, he was average. He didn't do anything great. These passes are all high school. This pass at the end of the game from the 40-yard line, he throws it. And the defender didn't even stay with the guy. I don't know what else would he be doing. And then he hits him. Same thing in the Green Bay game. These are just miracle bullshit throws. These are high school playground plays. This isn't like a normal play. So what does he do? He just runs around and he's the ball. Like him running backwards 20 yards to make that touchdown was a joke. What are you doing? Who's teaching you to do this? I'm just going to run away. I'm going to run backwards. You kept the play alive, and then you heaved it 45 yards. And the guy, for some reason, the defensive back decided not to cover him anymore because it was only for the game. Yeah, he's average. I'm not. Oh, by the way, did you see the 3 interceptions he threw? Did you see that last interception in overtime that cost him the game? Throwing to whom? He was 5 yards in front of CJ Moore, who had no chance to get it. The defender was there. He threw to the defender. That's also Caleb, right? Or we can go to CJ Stroud, 3 fumbles against Pittsburgh and 5 interceptions. That the one he just threw up in the air, and the guy catches it for a pick 6. I don't know what he was doing there. You can't tell me these guys are good quarterbacks. They might make a good play or two, but they're not good quarterbacks. You got to understand this. This is what I have against coaches. They're not good coaches because they don't understand the game. If I have the number 1 defense, aka Houston, aka Seattle, I'm playing to my strength. My strength is my defense. So I'm going to run the ball. I'm not going to go for 4th down too often. I'm going to just punt the ball and let my defense take over from their 5-10 yard line. I can get turnovers there, or they're not coming out, and then they'll punt it, and then I'll get the ball again at the 50 on 1st down. This whole go for it on 4th down thing totally destroys the concept of the game being offensively, defensively, and special teams. This is just saying, well, our offense, it's 4th and 2 at midfield. Now, if I'm Houston or Seattle, I'm punting 100% of the time. Because I'm playing to my strength. Why would I go for it? If I don't get it, they get the ball at midfield, really hurts my strength. I mean, you're going to complete passes on my defense. So boom, boom, 2 passes, they're at the 20. You've killed my strength, my defense. For what? 4th and 1, 4th and 2 at midfield. If I do get the 1st down, I get the ball at the 48 yard line. Now what am I going to do? I have nothing. There's no reward by going for it. Oh, I keep the ball. Well, if you punt the ball and you let your defense play, you'll get the ball right back anyway. Why risk giving them the ball at midfield when you can punt it inside the 10 and you have the monster defense? No voice, no better. Okay. Yeah, when this happened, I don't know. Sometimes I see myself freeze, and I know I freeze, or I see that internet connection gone. But if it's no voice, I don't know. Maybe I was swallowing or something. So keep that in mind. They're not playing it. And the same thing with CJ Stroud. Does he realize he's got the best defense in football? Maybe he shouldn't throw the ball up for grabs at your own 10 yard line and then let them get a pick 6. So your defense isn't even on the field and you've just given up a touchdown in a playoff game. Shows you how stupid CJ Stroud is. Take the sack. It's fine. Throw the ball into the ground. It's fine. What are you doing? Hello, McFly. Is anybody home? Because I don't think so. I don't think anybody's home. That whole play was ridiculous. Um, I think the guy with the tight end was crossing and he was going to throw to him. Well, as soon as he falls down and that's your play, throw it at his feet, get rid of the ball. You don't want to take, it's okay to throw an incomplete pass. It's okay to take a sack. The value is in holding the ball and possessing the ball and then punting it and playing defense. So, yeah, if you got a real shit defense and your strengths offense, like Dan Fouts or Dan Marino, well, then maybe you want to do that and go for it because your defense is so poor. Like probably the Detroit Lions is probably the main. Uh, they're going for it because their defense sucks. The defense sucks because the GM's terrible. He made. It's not hard if you draft Ruben Bain and then try to pat yourself on about what a great GM I am. I took Ruben Bain with the 1 or 2 or 3 pick. Boy, am I smart. Fucking idiot could make that draft. But I want to take credit for it. And that's the problem. So this Lions GM's terrible. He doesn't get the concept of you need defense. And I probably need more people because of the injuries. So I got to draft reserves. Chicago did that pretty well. I'm sure Seattle, they rotate, I'm sure 8 guys on the line and secondary and the Rams and all these. That's the whole point of it. You're playing a very violent game. You're going to get injuries. You have to recognize that. So you don't sign 4 or 5 guys to big contracts and then not have any backups and then wonder why you lose. Well, you're going to lose all the time until you have multiple guys in your secondary. You need a defensive line. You don't. This Hutchinson stinks. He had a good year. He gets hurt. He's not going to recover from breaking his leg. Anybody that thinks, oh, not a problem, barely an inconvenience, he just broke his leg in half, is out of their minds. He's not the same player. He didn't look the same. He was constantly tired. He was constantly not a presence on the field. If the guy ran into him, he sacked him. Otherwise, so you need a new, so you got to get rid of him, but you just signed him to $30-40 million contract. You're fucked, which means you can't get good defense. Like you should get, imagine if you got the guy from Miami, right? Good luck blocking both of those. Let's look at the Steelers. Joe Greenwood, Ernie Holmes, Dwight White, Fournette came in. You couldn't just block Joe Green. They couldn't block him anyway, but that's how dominant. And by the way, he was a defensive tackle. And he shut down Earl Campbell and he shut down Stabler and he can shut you down. That's the point. And then you added Ham and Lambert and, they just knew how to draft studs and then they were pretty much healthy most of the time. To get Ham and Lambert and Joe Green. Oh, yeah, and Mel Blount on the same team, Mike Wagner. That's really what the key is. So, but the Lions' philosophy is we have Hutchinson. Oh, he broke his leg. Not a problem. He'll be just as good because it's only a broken leg snapped in half. And he's done. His career's over. And then you've got, what do you got? You got nobody else on the line. Your linebackers are lousy. I don't buy this Jack Campbell. He doesn't look like anything. And then your secondary, while the safeties were good, are all injured. You're not going to get the guy with the Achilles. It's going to be hard. Marino came back from an Achilles. But he was a quarterback, not a safety. And so they're out. Now, who do you have? You have nobody. You have to draft 2 or 3 or 4 safeties. Not just we stumbled into 2 because I keep drafting from Alabama like they're any good. And that's the whole point. Who's your strength on your team? Your offensive coordinator, who you let go. You should have made him the head coach, but you weren't smart enough to do that. You think Dan Campbell is good. He's not. He can't even. He's hired 3 offensive coordinators. The first guy lasted a week. Then he got lucky with the guy with no experience in whatchamacallit, Ben Johnson, and then he hires this other guy, Mickey Mouse, who lasts 3 games, and he fires him because he can't coach. Your defensive coordinators suck. So did the other one. The guy coaching the Jets isn't any good. Look at Vrabel comes in, or Vrabel goes to New England and they win everything. The other guy goes to the Jets. They don't win a game. It just shows you. And then I'm tired of this golf is okay. Golf's never won a big game. I heard on the radio, well, he did win 2 playoff games. Oh, let's look at it. He beat the Rams at home by 3. The Rams were not very good 2 years ago. And then he beat a weak Tampa team who wasn't very good because Philadelphia and Dallas fell apart. He didn't beat Philly. He didn't beat, 1, 2, 3 seeds. He beat the 6th or 7th seed in Tampa and the Rams. Okay, so wonderful. But the big game, the Niner game, he chokes. Actually, the coach chokes. He played pretty well, getting us the 24 points, but then he disappeared. The second half, where did he go? Oh, yeah, if you get him off his spot, he doesn't do anything. So I'm sick and tired that golf's good. He's not good. He's not a winner. He's never won anything. Okay, he won a playoff game. Big fucking deal. He beat the Bears. You're going to count that as a big win, too, when we were out of the playoffs? He's not good. He's never won, like, a championship. Like in college, they went to Utah, Cal, and he threw 5 picks, which he seems to do a lot. When he gets south, he throws 5 picks. Put pressure in his face. He can't handle it. He has to have a strong running game and a play action pass. Well, good luck with that. Good luck against Houston and Seattle with that philosophy, because you're not going to run on them in that little play action dipsy do where you fake it left and then he goes back right with the tight end. Well, that's a great play. Never seen that before. So I'm not buying he's good. But again, this is the problem. The GM didn't draft. Well, I don't think he drafted Golf on the Rams. I don't recall. I don't know who this GM is, but he's not very good. He doesn't understand the concept. Indiana got the concept. Their coach. We have a good defense. We can stop the run. We have a good secondary. We have a good offense. We can run the ball. We have a good quarterback. We can block punch. He gets the game. It's all 3 phases. Yeah, golf does suck. Let's see. Profit. The NFL admitted the refs screwed up the Cooks catch so that they can going to continue the game from that point. Now, not very likely. I don't think they screwed it up. I mean, the guy picked it. Raiders need defense. Raiders need everything. Raiders need a quarterback. They need to know who's their coach going to be. Raiders are in total rebuild mode at this point. I don't even know if they're in rebuild mode, at least with Coach Pete, but not without. You need a good coach. They don't have. They should never have got rid of Coach Pete. That was a huge mistake. Who are you going to get? Oh, the offensive coordinator from Miami. Everybody, Mike McDaniel. He sucks. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's never been a good offensive coordinator. And look what he did with Miami. He sucked. You had Tyreek Hill and Waddle, and you couldn't do shit. Golf sucks. Yes. See, golf, the Detroit radio is so biased, and they're so with their eyes closed. He stinks. He's not good. You're not going to win with golf. You couldn't beat Washington because you had your heads up your ass, and Philadelphia ran Barkley for 250 yards on them, but you didn't run with your offense. And then this year, you needed to beat Minnesota with Browsmer, and you lost, and you needed to beat Pittsburgh, and they're not very good, and you lost. So to win, you lost. Oh, then you beat the Bears at the end in a meaningless game. That's the Lions. In a meaningless game, they might win. Games that need the win, they don't win it. They did that a couple years ago when they were like 1-7, and they should have fired the coach then. And then they go on a run because they played all the bad teams. And then the last game they needed to win, they lost to Carolina and they didn't make the playoffs. And then of course they beat Green Bay in a meaningless game on like Sunday Night Football. And this is the problem. They're not a good team. They're chokers. Golf is a choke. You're never going to win with golf. And the quicker you realize that, the quicker you understand it. Now look at Mendoza. He won the big game. So he's a winner. He's at least won that. Golf never won anything in college. No. And he had that tricky offense with one of those, TCU offensive coordinator guys who, was good passing and everything. But golf, he doesn't get excited. He doesn't get emotional. He has no passion at all. Not a good football player. So I would be getting a new quarterback. If they get a chance to draft Aguio, I certainly would if I was the GM. Now, the problem is I need offensive line and I need defense all over the place. Now, why doesn't he get free agent? He could get free agent for his line. That would be the easiest and probably the best way. And on his defensive line, he could probably free agent that, but he doesn't like free agents. He's scared of that. He's scared to look bad, so he takes a draft pick and says, well, it was a draft pick. Not a very good GM at all. The coach is terrible, Dan Campbell. I don't understand him. Oh, it's 4th down against Philadelphia. Yeah, let's go for it, 4th and 2. Because if we run up the middle, we're going to get it. And then they lose 2 yards on it. You're playing Philadelphia. You got Jalen Carter. You're not getting 4th down 100% out of 100 times out of 100. You're not getting the first down on Philadelphia. Are you out of your fucking mind? Apparently he is. He cost them a chance to the suit. They should have went to the suit. If I'm coaching it, I'm kicking the field goals, I'm keeping momentum, and off I go. And I'm not letting Jared Goff lose the game for me like he did. I would have on the 4th downs I kick, and then I'm running the ball most of the game, sort of like Seattle did last week when they didn't let Darnell beat them, and that for the one seed against Frisco was all running, not letting Darnold beat them. And then same thing last week. It was mostly running. And then finally, when they had a big lead, they could trust Darnell because they didn't care if he threw the pick. Okay, so that leads us to this week's games. Good idea, John C. Well, I thought the Lions should get the Indiana coach, but yeah, if I'm the Raiders, I definitely am calling that Indiana coach. And I don't care if he's just signed a new contract. Fuck that. How much do you need to come here? I mean, we see coaches jump all the time. Urban Meyer, the better coaches. Or I'd go after Nick Saban. I mean, I'd go after one of those two. I think Nick Saban would coach in the pros. He doesn't like college because the players don't like him. He can't be authoritarian to them, and they just switch teams. All right. So our first game, New England, an 18. New England is, what did I say, 5-41. Let's do the spreads. New England, 5-41.5. And the Rams, Seattle, 2.5, 47.5. Now we'll go on scores and odds because they give us multiple lines. So let's check that first. All right, New England. I got 4.5, 5, 5.5. So let's call it 5. All right, there's a bunch of 5, 5, 5, 5.5, 4.5. So we'll just leave it at 5 with a total. Yeah, just a second. 41 and a half and some 42s. So let's call it 41 and a half. All right, let's look at the next game, the Rammies. Let's see, 2.5, 47.5 turns into 2.5. 2.5, 2.5. So it's all 2.5. So Seattle's down to 2.5. I would not be surprised if the Rams get the W here. Total is 47.5 everywhere. Okay. So we're dealing with 2.5, 47.5 everywhere in that. What are the teams? So if we go to the professor's view, we got New England an A team with an 18 defense. Very strong defense. Denver a B team. However, with Stidham, are they a B team? We don't know what they are. So it's unknown. We know the defense is a 24. That's still a 24. May against Stidham. We got New England 18-1 in a teaser. Denver 17-1 in a teaser. So New England with the 18 defense should give problems to Stidham, but we have Sean Payton to counter that. It's not so easy here. New England's going to win because Drake May is nothing. He's not proven. Again, everybody says he played a weak schedule. This isn't the Jets in Miami and the Giants in New Orleans. This is a real team. I think Stidham will give them points because, as I said, he was okay at Auburn, 18-5. So he wasn't bad. And then he's played in 5 years in the NFL. He's played 3 games and 2 games here and 2 games there. So he's played a little. He's seen action. He knows he's going to start. He's got Sean Payton, the best coach in the league. So with all that, they will have the art of war. They will go to their strength, which is probably their defense now that Stidham's out. And they're going to have to run the ball a little more against New England, who looks good at home, but they're not at home. They're at Denver, which is the key. Are they going to run into Denver and blow them out? I don't think so. Even with Stidham, Denver is not going to just roll over, right? They're one game from the Super Bowl. They are going to play. Stidham can play. He did good at Auburn for, I think, like 3 years. He was their starter. So it's not like, it's sort of like Stenson Benson would talk about from Georgia. He won 2 national titles. He can't get in because of Stafford. He's a good quarterback. So if Stafford gets hurt and here comes Stenson Benson, I'd still bet him. He's not as good as Stafford, but he's not chopped liver either. So in this game, this is a tough call. I'm getting pretty good at picking the score, aren't I? So I had 30-27 Indy last night. It was 27-21. So I was pretty fucking close. I nailed the Chicago Ram game 20-17, which I'm shocked. I was pretty close to New England Houston 17-14. It was 28-16. This game, I think the over 41, I think this is a 20-point game because I think New England can score. Denver's defense is not all that, as much as you want to believe it's all that. I mean, they gave up 30 to Buffalo. Granted, it was Jim Kelly. They'll probably give up in the 20s to New England. Now, the key will be, Stidham able to put up points, and I think he will. He certainly knows the offense. He's been there 2 years. This is why you play your guy in some of these blowout games, but Denver didn't have too many blowout games this year. But this is why you give first string reps to your backup quarterback, because I'm sure he's getting like backup reps to the second, third stringers and not the first stringers. And this is why you, just in case, because it's football and people get hurt. So I don't know. I think Denver. I don't think Stidham is that bad. I don't think he's much worse than Drake May. Drake May's a runner, and Denver's going to lock him down. So May's going to have to beat him throwing, and I don't know. And then there's Stidham who's going to have to do that. So it's kind of a tough game. New England has a little edge, but not at Denver, and they're laying 5. Uh-uh. That's too much. So I got to keep thinking on this. I'll have to look at the only comparison I get. They went to Buffalo and won in the second game with Buffalo, but you really don't have Josh Allen here, so I've got to look for a quarterback like a Stidham. So it's almost like playing Atlanta with Kirk Cousins, who Stidham's probably better than Kirk Cousins. The second game, we got LA, an over team with a 28 defense. Stafford, 15-4 in a teaser. Seattle, an A team with the 12 defense, but they got Darnell, who didn't do shit last week. It was all the defense, and they just got turnovers and ran the ball a lot. Kenneth Walker, and that's what I see here. This is a live dog in LA, getting 8.5, 9 points. Very live dog. They beat Seattle 21-19 in the in LA, and then they lost on that bullshit call 39-38 or 38-37 in that bullshit 2-point conversion abortion that they called was converted because it was an incomplete pass, and the guy just happened to pick it up. So that's what are you talking about? Obviously, the defense would have picked it up had they thought it was a live ball, but knowing it was an incompletion, why would you pick it up? And the guy who picked it up didn't even pick it up. He just was like handing it. Oh, here you go, ref. So there wasn't a clear recovery. What the fuck? Okay. Well, thank you, AJ. Appreciate that. Little bonus for the professor. All right. So I think that I think this is a tight game. I think the Rams can win the game very easily. They're not facing Purdy. See, Frisco's out, right? They're all injured. They got McCaffrey, so they keyed on him. But they played him twice, and it was 13-3 and then 41-6. So the Niners aren't scoring on them. The Rams are a completely better team than them. I give the Rams incredible credit for winning in 5-degree weather. To stand out there yesterday, just to go into the pool, to go into it's not a swim, but to go to the rec center, just to go out there, to walk in from the car, I was free. It was like, get me in. They're playing 3.5 hours in that weather on Sunday, which is why I bet the under on the game. So with that instilled, the Rams have strong mental fortitude. All right. You got to kill them to beat them. Stafford and Puka, good luck covering Puka, right? Good luck on that one. Seattle, they had a good defense when they played them 3 weeks ago, and the Rams put up 37, 38 points. You're not stopping the Rams. The Bears, even the cold weather of 5 degrees, and that's freezing, could not stop them. It was a very good win. I see the Rams going to the Super Bowl. At the end of the day, it's Stafford against Darnold, and that's the problem. Just like I told you with C.J. Stroud. He's the problem. He's not smart enough. He throws 5 picks with the number 1 defense in football. You should have just ran if Houston would have just ran the ball the whole game, even though they weren't getting yards, just ran the ball. They had a better chance of winning because they wouldn't have turned it over 5 times and handed New England 14 points. So against Denver, do I think New England is? I'm thinking it out. Is Denver going to give them all the turnovers? Probably not. Stidham is a good quarterback, just hasn't played. played at Auburn, so that means he played Alabama 4 times. So that's not chop liver. So looking at that, but I just see that um, it's the turnovers, right? Look at Indiana. They killed Oregon and probably Alabama with turnovers too, but they killed Oregon because they got three, a block punt, a fumble at the 2, and the pick six. Okay, and they put up a bunch of points. They didn't get that from Miami yesterday. I don't know how many turnovers were in the game, but I don't think a lot. And so Seattle's not going to get all these turnovers, nor will New England. Stafford's not turning the ball over. Maybe an interception because it hits somebody's hands and it bounces in the air. I am not afraid of Seattle's defense because I have Stafford and I got Pukanuka. I got a pretty good running attack. I got these tight ends, Parkinson, who gets open a lot. I got a good line, and I got a good defense. It's a 28 defense. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't have a good defense, but I do have a good defense against Darnold. The key will be pressuring him, right? So the Rams are just going to pressure, pressure, pressure. They watched the Lions and Philadelphia do that to him last year, and he fell apart. Or the it was the Lions, and I think, yeah, it was Philadelphia, I think. Maybe it was the Rams. It was one of those playoff games, and he just doesn't show up with pressure. So Darnell will be choking because that's what he is. That's what golf is. They don't change. This is what they are. They're choke. They get into a big game, they choke. Darnell choked twice last year after choking with the Jets and choking with whoever else he was on. I think it was a Niner or Ram, and he choked there. So when you look at Stafford against Darnold, forget the defense. It ain't stopping the Rams. If the cold weather didn't stop them, this defense is going to be like a picnic. And then the Rams defense. Now they gave up 31 to Steve Young. They've given up 17 to the Bears. They played pretty good, but it was the weather. They gave up 35 to the Lions. They gave up 38 in that Seattle game. They gave up. So it's like Denver and the Rams defense really is not that good. Or, because the Giants lit up Denver with 30 points. Now, maybe there was some turnovers, but still. And that's what I'm looking at. I don't think there was a lot of turnovers in the Ram-Carolina game. But the Ram-Lion game and the Ram-Seattle game, they put up 35, 38 points. It was crazy. So maybe they got a hurt player back. I don't know. It's for the Super Bowl, so I think you'll get a better performance. Darnold will choke. They're going to run Walker, my Michigan State guy, all the time. I don't know about Charbonnet. He got hurt on his knee. I don't know how serious it is. Doesn't matter. They have Walker. Smith and Jingba, I think he's overrated. He's okay. He's not it. He's no Lynn Swan. Or for you Oakland guys, he's no Cliff Branch. He's actually he's no Dave Casper, right? So that's what you got with this. I think this is a tight game. I definitely see points in this because the Rams will score and Seattle can score because the Rams defense is weak. So I definitely like the over, which I think I gave you as the free play. So let's figure out a score to this game. Over 47 and a half, so over 41 and a half. Who to play it with? We only got one out. Well, we got a couple options. We can play the Rams or we can play the total in the New England Denver game. What score is this? Well, I got to figure the Rams get 27. Let's go with Seattle 24. So that's a 51. We're over 41. 27-24, the Rams. Stafford just is too strong to – what are you going to do, right? You aren't going to stop him. He's great at the end of the – he kind of falls asleep in the third quarter. And you're like, they're up, and then he doesn't do anything. But when the game's on the line, like against the Bears, he scored, and then he won the game. Granted, they needed the interception by Caleb, choke, and just like C.J. Stroud. So the quarterbacks choked. The Bears should have went down and won the game, but they should have done some dipsy doos. They should have more Caleb runs and more the running back. But you can't throw that interception, and Caleb, that's where Caleb is really struggles reading defenses. And the miracle ones are just like there's no pressure. Okay, go back, throw it into the end zone and hope the guy catches it, and the guy catches it. That's no pressure because it's, you're not supposed to catch it anyway. But when he needs it and he's driving down and he needs the touchdown, or on these fourth downs, he didn't show up. Anyway, so big edge, Stafford over Darnold. Kind of a small edge with the defense. I know Seattle's defense is strong, but that's against the Niners 3-3, and against Carolina they gave up 6. Okay, but against the Rams it was 37, and that ain't going away. It's the same thing. We'll check the weather in a minute. So I think the Rams are a strong dog in the game, as well as a over game. 41. Because look at it, it's 47. But the Rams defense is the key here. It's a 28 defense. Now, yeah, they gave up 17 on the Bears because it was freezing out. But, all right, so let's drop it. Maybe it's a 26 now. But still, it's not a steel curtain, right? So Seattle should score. Walker should be able to run on them. And they're not going to stop Stafford. So that's where we go over. New England, Denver. Denver running the ball. They don't have the Stafford. Drake May's like Darnold. We don't know who he is yet. He's a rookie. So we've got that problem. Vrabel, good defensive coordinator. But where was he at Tennessee? I don't understand Vrabel. Like, he sucked at Tennessee. They were a terrible team. So is he really a good coach, or is he a good coach when you got good players? Which then goes, is it Belichick or Brady? And that's why I always said Brady, because without Brady, Belichick sucked. So what's Vrabel? Is he this good of a coach, or he just happens to have pretty good players? And, they run. So I think New England runs a lot. Denver's defense will come to play because they know they don't have Bo Nix. When you know that, when it's do or die and we don't have our quarterback, the defense goes, we got to play better. We have to shut them down. So it's not going to be that easy for New England to score like it was last week, getting all the gifts. Stidham, it'll be short passes. It'll be just nothing stupid. I doubt you'll see too many long passes and a lot of running. So it might turn into an Army-Navy game. I have to figure out, do we go over or under? I am leaning towards over because it's 41. And Denver's defense isn't that strong. New England's, I'm not buying. They gave up 35 to the Bills and 24 to Baltimore. So I'm not buying it's that good. New England, 16-3 to San Diego, and New England 28-16 to Houston. You gave up 16 to that mess. All right. So that's all we have to break down. As far as the draft, I would say there's Daggio and maybe Mendoza, maybe the kid out of Baylor. There's not a lot of quarterbacks. And you certainly don't need it. If you have the right team, you're okay. I mean, look at Drake May. He's not very good, but New England's winning. We see Houston settling on C.J. Stroud. We got our I hate that. Well, we got our franchise quarterback. Bullshit. You got your franchise quarterback. You're in big trouble with C.J. Stroud. All right, let's go. Okay. How do you handicap for a backup quarterback? How many points does it cost Denver losing next? Aha, that's the problem with your formula. That is a very good question. Hi, Nick. Congrats on the win. Thank you. I think a lot of people are discounting Stidham. Played a game on the Raiders, and it lit up a good Niners defense a year or so ago. It was a couple years ago. The last 2 years he's been on Denver, and uh, he, like I said, at Auburn his senior year, 2018, he had 18 touchdowns and 5 picks. So it's not like he's not seen the sidelines. He's a good backup. New England drafted him, so I think I agree with you, Nick. I think they're misleading him, and really, it's Sean Payton's going to run a game plan for him. And it's easier if you know Bo Nix is out, which they know. They got a whole week to prepare Stidham, who's already prepared anyway. Now he can throw to the first team receivers and try to get timing down with them. But the game plan will be the game plan. What's New England's weakness? I don't know. Buffalo lit them up. Josh Allen, 35-31. Otherwise, they just really haven't played anybody. So, it's a tough one to really figure out. But I agree with you, Nick, that Stidham is not like Joe Smith, who's never played before, or that John Johnson guy, or Trey Lance. I mean, this is actually he can throw. He's a good quarterback. Again, playing in the SEC means you play Alabama and Georgia. Auburn plays them both every year. I don't know about, Texas wasn't in. LSU, it probably played. So you're playing some big defenses there. And he played, I don't know if it was all 4 years, but I think it was at least 2 years. He was the starter at Auburn, and he was the starter. So, yes, definitely. Liking Denver over, and Rams teased. I think the Denver over is so low that I agree with that. Profit, on that Seattle 2-point play, the whistle blew as well when the ball was bouncing forward on its own. Well, that was just a joke. Talk about fixed. I don't know why they wanted the Rams to lose, but that was a bullshit. That was the worst call I've ever seen. It was the intent, even if it was thrown back, wasn't. It was knocked down, and it was an incomplete pass. To allow the 2-point conversion is sort of like the Fed printing money, making us all holding dollars that are worthless. Rangers, hey Rangers, Mark Messier Rangers, Wayne Gretzky had for a little bit too. AG might be up, but what does it matter unless people invest in it physically and hold it in their own hand? Well, that's what we say is we invest. This is about physical. This is not holding it in our hand in our safes in a safe place. That's what we do. We don't, but it still matters. That's the point. We want them to buy it, and it's really not an investment. We don't buy it at silver's about to hit 100. We don't say sell it at 150. We say hold it, and hold it when it hits 200, and hold it when it hits 700, and hold it when it hits 1,500. We're not in it to sell because we'd have the dollars. So knowing that this is worthless, we don't want to sell our real money. I bought this at 30 an ounce. It's a 2-ouncer, right? It's worth 2 ounces, 2-ounce silver. So I paid 60 for this. Now it's worth 95, so it's 190. I have no increment of selling it. No chance. So that's the game we play, because if I sell it, I'm back in toilet paper, monopoly money, and I don't want to be in this because this has no value. It's worth zero. And I go back to my Titanic analogy, where once the boat hit the iceberg, the boat was sunk. Now, it took a while for the water to fill in and sink the boat, but as soon as you got the hole from the iceberg, the boat was sunk. As soon as these idiots keep printing, we got a $39 trillion debt, this is sunk. We don't need to see it in the bottom of the Atlantic or going down to realize it's sunk. It's already sunk. So therefore, what do? Same thing you did on the Titanic, get into our lifeboats, which are gold and silver, but why would we get out of them and go back on the Titanic when there's no point in it. It's sinking. So we don't want to be in the dollar at all. We are out of it because it's worthless. We know it's worthless because you can't print $150 trillion and think you have a value, especially with the petrodollar gone and BRICS staying away from the dollar, and they're all trading in gold-backed currency now. So we don't want to be in the dollar. Oh, wait, it's on the football segment. No, you can talk either one, Ranger. It's not a problem. With AG full ounces leaving the market for most population, do you think the race is on for fractional or copper? Well, I have a lot of fractional too. Half ounces, if gold's 5,000, half ounces worth 2,500. So no, I've always bought fractional. I'm not into copper. Now, with the end of the penny, I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't really care. How much can copper be? I'm sticking with gold and silver, but I've always been in fractional. As I was buying, I started buying about 5 years ago. I showed you that invoice, and let me get it, because this is really when I started. So this is my first purchase. You can see the date, 1/20/21. I bought 5 ounces of American Golden Eagle at 1965, which included the premium. So it's probably 1900 an ounce there. So I kept it under 10 grand. So there you go. That was my first purchase. And then I kept buying and buying and buying. My second purchase on the same day, 1/20/21, I bought 5 half ounces for 10.20, and then I bought 7 quarter ounces for 5.20 at the same store. So you can see I picked up 7 quarters. Now I could have bought all ounces, but I wanted to differentiate. So again, this was 1/20/21 when I said we got to buy gold. I said it to myself, but it was still the idea. And I think I was doing this class right around there. I always did the football class. You see, that's 16 years. But the gold class probably started shortly after that, warning everybody, trying to educate them to do what I just did. So I was 1,900. We're now at 4,700, or pretty close to 4,700. And I did the same with silver, but later. And silver was sitting at $20, $25 an ounce. And I'd buy the white container of 20 of them. So I'd buy 20 at a time. Instead of playing poker, I was just saying, screw it. I'll just take the 300 and buy 10 ounces of silver, $30 an ounce, with no risk in the portfolio, as opposed to playing poker, where my pocket aces could get busted by a set of sevens. So it was a very easy decision to do that. Well, I mean, I don't know if people are just buying ounces. At my store, they got half ounces and quarter ounce. Whenever they're gone. They don't stay long. But yeah, I mean, it's 40, it's almost 4,700. Let's call it 4,700. He's putting a $200 premium on it. You got to have 4,900 to buy an ounce at my guy's store. He's usually been 100. So that's how limited it is. So, like I showed you, for the 10 grand I bought, I got 5 ounces. Now, if I have 10 grand, I can only buy 2 ounces. And that's the difference. So the banks are buying the big bars, the gold finger bars, right? People like us, how much do we have? And if I have 10 grand, I might buy 1 ounce of gold and then a shitload of silver. Like these were 2 ounce. This came in a tube of 14. So I got really 28 ounces, but 14 of these. And I kept getting confused because the ounce would be 30. And then I'm thinking, oh, I owe 300. And it was like, no, it's 600 because they're all 2 ounces. But it's whatever. You're buying gold and silver. You're not buying collectible gold. You're not buying, mercury dime. That's a very rare PSA or MS 70 mercury dime. You're not buying that. You're just buying silver, and that's it. This is just silver I'm buying, so I'm buying to own it because I know where it's headed, and that's it. Rangers, Apmax is out of copper, and SD bullion has limited selection. Well, okay. Again, it's probably what's the cost of a? Is there? Do you buy copper by ounces? Is copper coins? I don't know. I never was really interested in it as